Picture this. You're on a spiritual journey, climbing a mountain towards God. But there are 7 heavy stones in your backpack, weighing you down. These stones represent habits that are keeping you from reaching the summit. What if I told you that God is asking you to empty that backpack? Today, we'll discover what those stones are and how to let them go. Have you ever felt like something was holding you back in your walk with God? Those 7 stones, pride, neglect, consumerism, and others we'll explore. They're the habits that slow your climb. But here's the good news. God is calling you to change. He's inviting you to lighten your load and draw closer to Him. Think about the freedom you'll feel as you remove each stone. Imagine the closeness to God that awaits you at the top of that mountain. Are you ready to take this journey? Let's begin by examining these habits and learning how to let them go, one by one. Your transformation starts now. As we start this journey of transformation, let's uncover the first 3 stones weighing you down. What if the very traits you believe make you strong are actually creating a barrier between you and God? These hidden obstacles might surprise you. Pride, the heaviest stone in our backpack, often disguises itself as confidence or self-assurance. C.S. Lewis wisely pointed out that pride is the greatest obstacle between man and God. It's a cunning force that seduces us into placing ourselves above others, creating invisible walls in our relationships, and stunting our spiritual growth. Remember the warning in Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. This verse illustrates the damaging effects of pride, reminding us that what we perceive as strength can lead to our downfall. The second stone we need to address is the neglect of spiritual disciplines. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and forget to nurture our relationship with God. Prayer, often referred to as the soul's breath, is vital for maintaining our connection with our Creator. When we neglect prayer, scripture study, and other spiritual practices, we risk developing a superficial relationship with God and losing sight of His will for our lives. Have you ever found yourself skipping your quiet time with God, thinking you'll make up for it later? Or perhaps you've convinced yourself that you're too busy for daily scripture reading. These seemingly small decisions can accumulate over time, creating a significant distance between us and God. It's like trying to run a marathon without proper training. We might start strong, but we'll soon find ourselves exhausted and struggling to keep pace. The third stone in our backpack is consumerism. In our modern world, it's all too easy to get caught up in the pursuit of material possessions and worldly success. We often forget that these things can become idols, distracting us from our true spiritual purpose. Matthew 6:24 reminds us, "No one can serve 2 masters. You cannot serve both God and money." This verse underscores the inherent conflict between spiritual devotion and materialism. Think about the last time you felt a surge of excitement over a new purchase. Did that feeling last? Or did it quickly fade, leaving you yearning for the next thing? This cycle of desire and temporary satisfaction can leave us feeling spiritually empty, always chasing after something that never truly fulfills us. That spiritual emptiness you feel, it might not just be about what you're chasing, but what you're holding on to. Have you ever considered that your attitude towards others, your doubts and your grudges, could be the real culprits keeping you from experiencing God's fullness? Let's explore the next 3 stones in our spiritual backpack: indifference, skepticism, and unforgiveness. These hidden obstacles might surprise you, as they often masquerade as harmless traits or even virtues. Indifference to others is a subtle yet weighty stone. It's easy to become so focused on our own spiritual journey that we forget about those around us. But remember, Jesus commanded us to love your neighbor as yourself, Mark 12:31. When we turn a blind eye to the needs of others, we're not just failing them. We're failing to live out a core principle of our faith. Think about the last time you saw someone in need. Did you stop to help, or did you keep walking? Indifference can manifest in small ways, like ignoring a friend's emotional distress or failing to offer help when we're able. It's tempting to justify our apathy by thinking the problems are too big for one person to solve. But each act of compassion, no matter how small, reflects God's love to the world. The next stone we need to address is skepticism. Now, don't get me wrong. Questioning and seeking understanding can be healthy. C.S. Lewis himself emphasized that skepticism can be a virtue when it leads to genuine investigation of beliefs. But there's a fine line between healthy questioning and doubt that erodes faith. Have you ever found yourself so caught up in analyzing and questioning every aspect of your faith that you struggle to simply trust God? This kind of skepticism can create barriers to spiritual growth, leaving us feeling disconnected and uncertain. The key is to differentiate between questioning for understanding and doubt that leads to disbelief. The third stone we're tackling today is unforgiveness. This might be the heaviest stone of all, as it creates barriers not just in our relationship with God but with others as well. C.S. Lewis emphasized that forgiveness is essential for spiritual liberation and reflects God's love. Yet how often do we hold on to grudges, nurturing resentment and bitterness in our hearts? Remember the last time someone hurt you deeply. Did you forgive them? Or are you still carrying that pain? Hebrews 12:15 warns us about the bitterness that can defile many. Unforgiveness doesn't just affect our relationship with the person who wronged us. It seeps into every aspect of our spiritual life, distancing us from God and others. So, how do we start removing these stones from our backpack? It begins with recognizing their weight in our lives. Practice empathy to combat indifference. Embrace vulnerability and seek understanding to balance skepticism. Actively choose forgiveness, even when it's difficult. These actions help foster deeper connections with God and others, lightening our spiritual load. Just when you think you've addressed all your spiritual stumbling blocks, an unexpected challenge emerges. Could your resistance to change be the final barrier keeping you from a deeper connection with God? Let's explore the surprising impact of this often overlooked habit on your faith journey. Resistance to change is the seventh and final stone in your spiritual backpack, and it's often the heaviest. This stubborn habit can lead to spiritual stagnation, hindering your growth and relationship with God. Have you ever felt stuck in your faith, unable to move forward despite your best efforts? That's the weight of this stone holding you down. The Bible speaks directly to this issue in Romans 12:2, urging us to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This verse emphasizes the importance of embracing change for spiritual transformation. But let's be honest, change is hard. It requires courage to step out of our comfort zones and face the unknown. Think about the last time you felt God calling you to make a change in your life. Did you eagerly embrace it, or did you hesitate, clinging to the familiar? Maybe you've been sensing a nudge to join a new ministry at church, but the thought of meeting new people makes you nervous. Or perhaps you feel led to confront a long-standing sin in your life, but the process seems too daunting. C.S. Lewis once said, "It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present, and you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary, decent egg. We must be hatched or go bad." This powerful analogy reminds us that growth and change are not just optional, they're essential for our spiritual health. So how do we start shedding this stone of resistance? It begins with humility. We need to acknowledge our dependence on God and our need for transformation. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Countless others have faced similar struggles and emerged stronger in their faith. Now, I want to encourage you to take an active role in identifying and addressing your own resistance to change. Start by asking yourself, what areas of my life am I holding back from God? Where do I feel Him calling me to grow or change? Write these down and prayerfully consider how you can take small steps towards embracing transformation. As we reach the summit of our spiritual journey, let's reflect on the 7 anti-Christian habits we've explored: pride, neglect of spiritual disciplines, consumerism, indifference, skepticism, unforgiveness, and resistance to change. These stones have been weighing us down, but remember, overcoming them is an ongoing process. Think of yourself as the hero in your own spiritual story, capable of positive change and growth. Every step you take toward shedding these habits brings you closer to God. As C.S. Lewis wisely noted, recognition of one's own errors is the first step to sanctification. Your journey doesn't end here. Each day offers a new opportunity to climb higher with God. Are you ready to lighten your load and draw closer to Him? Remember, it's not where you are on the mountain that matters, but the direction you're moving. How will you continue your climb today?